You are now listening to Through the Fryer. Sit down, no shade, but phones on. You want something juicy to talk about, and I have something to give you. Here we go with Through the rest stay closed. Really? You don't have no windows. Hell, but it's okay. Too. I'm Super Saver. No. The ratings are back, and now we have 5 listeners. Listen, thank you for tuning in to Through the Fryer. Hello and welcome to a brand new podcast of Through the Fryer. I'm Justin Bass, and it has definitely been a while. And I am so excited to be back. I'm so excited to reconnect with the people that listen. And I'm also so excited to just jump back into being real with people that are here to listen to my story, my journey, and what's been going on with me. And I always said since I started this podcast that I hope that this connected with people. And the most humbling thing is that when I have my friends, they reach back out to me and they say, oh, I love this about that, or I want more of this. And I want to say thank you, because this hiatus has been long, but I've always want to be in a place of balance before I speak any type of truth. But even right now, I am not standing on one leg. And I told myself, you can't continue to wait until you at 100%, 99.9%. You just got to share your story in whatever phase you at, because for me, this is a place of therapy. This is a place of venting. This is a place of me being vulnerable. And this is a place of me just expressing myself. So I hope that you're listening now and you're getting my truth. And I hope that it connects with you in a way. And I just want to dive right on in. I can't swim, but I can dive. And I guess the first place I want to start off is, where have I been? Why haven't I done any podcasts? And I want to say months. I don't know, weeks. I don't even know the last date I did one. I do know that I'm still paying the bill to have this podcast ran. And I know that I see it every time I check my bank transactions, and I'm seeing this amount of money getting taken out every month. And I was like, well, if I'm paying for it, then maybe I will actually do it. No, actually, I let a lot of other things block me, and I just continue to pay it. But honestly, I just been hustling. New York, I'm still here. I am still breathing. I am still standing on 2 legs and on all my toes, and I am completely dedicated to being grounded here by any motherfucking means necessary. When I tell you that living here for a year, which is a huge accomplishment, has been something that I know that I've wanted to do for a very long time, and to actually have achieved that, and to actually be working on making myself financially stable as a person, just stable in this new community, has been crucial to me. And I've always known that I just didn't want to come to New York just to come to New York and just be here and do gigs and leave. And no shade to anyone that does that. This is awesome. You come to New York, you do that, audition for the cruise, you go on the boat for 8 months. That's not me. I knew when I stepped off that Amtrak years ago when I visited New York, or that bus, that I knew that I wanted to live here, that I wanted to set some type of roots here, that I wanted to create here, that I just didn't want to be, a person here that's visiting for a very long time. Like, I wanted to be here, settled and working. And I remember reading all of the many articles and coming across these, people saying this is the hardest place to live, rent is this, and you can't afford that. And I remember just dreaming and be like, look, I could probably be living in the East Village, or I could be living, somewhere in the Upper East Side. Manhattan is definitely where I want to be. That seems like where I should be. And then I moved to New York, and then I end up in Brooklyn, which is affordable for me. And then I look at the rent, and I'm just like, wow, this is even expensive. It's unrealistic. Like, I'm from East Cleveland, Ohio. Like, the amount of money that I'm paying now, that I paid since being here, I could have easily been like living very lavish. Even when I was living in Salt Lake City, Utah, I had way much more space. But these things moving to New York. Like, I don't let the lateness of the trains, I don't let the crampedness of the space, I don't let the sight of seeing a rat run across me push me away, because these are all things that I knew that's associated with this place. So how can I be angry at these things? So I've been here. My dog is here. We're doing good. And now I am in a creative process. I'm choreographing more than dancing, which actually is making me more happier and has relieved a different stress. Like, if you don't know anything about my past, and if you do, if you're a close friend that's listening, you've known that I've been dancing since I was in college and went straight out into a contract, which was a complete blessing and which I loved. But it was something about breaking free of that, and breaking free of that being in New York, one of the most creative places in the world where artists come to flourish. And I told myself, I know that I cannot completely flourish until I'm grounded, because I've never seen anything grow in a place that is not grounded in. So I'm like, if I really truly want to do where my work can be at its fullest, then I need to make sure I'm settled here. And I know how I am, financially. Money is not my strongest suit, and I wanted to fix that. So, I just hit the ground running, applying for jobs and things like that. And I think the last time that I did this podcast, I was doing work study at a space called Triskelion Arts. And this is a great place to share that I just got a opportunity to show work in fall 2020 there at Even Limb. So that is amazing that I just found out. Which is good, because I still want to create, but it's been hard. Like, being a freelance artist is something that I was curious about, and I went to the auditions, I did these things, and I was like, I'm getting close to 30 and I need some stability so I can really create a next level of my work. My work cannot be created on one rehearsal a month. I need some type of stability, but I also have to be honest with myself that I can't pull along other dancers in a process without finding them some type of compensation and some type of support. It's really important to me that people know that when they work with me, that they are valued and that I value them. So I told myself that I need to be in a comfortable place. And when I tell you this next part of my journey, which is about to blow your mind, let me go back and just say this. I've only been in New York for a year and about, I want to say 3 months. I moved here July 4th or 1st of last year. And right now at this moment, what happened was I had to move. I moved here with my ex and we broke up. And that completely wrecked my world. It was something that was unexpected. It was something I wasn't, prepared for. But, we decided to live with each other for a little while because, we didn't want to put, we still care for each other. So we didn't want either of us to feel like they had to move out. But it became very hard for me. I'm a Taurus. I'm super emotional. And I told myself, well, you know what? Let me just go ahead and just try and see if we can still live with each other. Oh my God, somebody's trying to buzz into this apartment. And I know it ain't nobody to live here. Okay, so we decided to try and work it out and live with each other for, until we figure stuff out. Just coexist but not be in a relationship. And it just didn't work for me. My feelings were still very intact and very warped in the entire situation. So I knew that I had to leave. It was a moment where he was on his apps and I was on my apps. I was hearing him on the phone with other people. I would notice him leaving. We were still being physical with each other, intimate with each other, which wasn't helping anything for me, but it was okay with him. And it was confusing, and I knew that I needed to leave because I know, first of all, whenever I break up with someone, it's a clean cut. It's straight up, the bone, everything, bam, chayat, chop. Not that I hate anyone that I've ever been with, but I just don't like having pieces of my past just lingering there for me to just make reference to. I've always been a firm believer in moving forward to literally go forward in that direction, not to bring anything. So, we were together for 3.5 years, and that was hard, and we still needed each other after we broke up. And lucky enough, I was able to find a place through a friend of a friend that was actually right around the corner, and I just know I needed my own space so I can do what I came here to do in New York, which was live and thrive here. So in that entire moment, I end up going through a lot of interviews for jobs just to get work, because I'm like, well, I can't move out by myself and not have, I need to make more money. I was only making a little bit of money working these Broadway shows doing merch, and I'm like, that's not gonna be enough if I have to pay $800-900 a month plus utilities, in a 3-bedroom apartment, and there's no way I'm making enough to get my own place. So I hit the ground running. I'm like, look, right now I feel like I'm on the clock, and I work my best under pressure. When I tell you, I probably did about 10 interviews in the span of 2 weeks, back to back to back, and I didn't hear anything. And then I went to this one interview for a temp agency. I've never, went to a temp agency before, but they called me after I applied, and I was like, okay, let's see what this is about. And I'm like, well, this is kind of sketchy because you kind of have to wait, and you get a job for 1 week, or you get a job for 2 weeks, or it can be 3 months. And I'm like, I just need something steady so I can just stack some coins together. So I go into this interview for the temp agency, and then they hire me, which is awesome. But like, from looking online, they kind of hire almost everybody. So then the next day after that interview, I let them know in the interview that actually I'm an artist, this is what I do, and they say a lot of artists come through here for part-time work. The next day after that interview through the temp agency, they say, Justin, we have an interview for you. Now, mind you, this same weekend, I'm about to go out of town to a friend's family place just to clear my head, because I'm still going through emotions of the breakup and things like that and trying to figure things out. And they were like, can you get to this interview? I'm like, yeah, I can go, but I'm leaving out of town at 3. I go to the interview at 11. The interview is right next to Penn Station in Manhattan. So if you know anything about New York, Penn Station is huge, it's historical, it's amazing. This interview was in 5 Penn Plaza. I go to 5 Penn Plaza. It's for this private foundation that gives back to the arts. Like, they literally, their job is to help the arts in low-income communities. And just to give you even more insight, the creators of this foundation, they created the Reader's Digest. So I get to this interview, and I do a little bit of research before, but it was literally, this was day, and the next day was the interview. I get up, I get my blazer on, and I go inside the building, and I'm like, oh my gosh, like, this is, everything is beautiful. Like, this office is completely laid out. This is next level. This is corporate. This is basically corporate. And I go in, and the receptionist greets me, and she says, you can sit in for the interview. And then they have an interview schedule. I'm like, oh, I'm just not meeting one person. On the interview schedule, there's 3 people I have to meet, one after the other. I'm like, oh, okay. And it's like one for 45 minutes, one for 30 minutes, one for another 45 minutes, and then that's it. And I sat down in that chair. They offered water. I never take water at an interview for some reason, because I don't want to be too comfortable. And I don't know, I just learned to not take the beverage. And I sat there, and before they came in, I looked at the view outside of the building, and I was like, wow, like, this is it. Like, this can set me up if I do this right. So through the interview process, they're all asking me, what do I do? What are my goals? They want someone for at least 3 months, because the last receptionist left, without really any warning, and they want to transform the receptionist position. And I'm like, well, this is awesome, because the desk job is not something I ideally want to do, but I ideally want to pay my rent. So ideally, I will be there. So I'm sitting there, I'm selling everything. They're like, well, da-da-da. I'm like, well, the Wallace Foundation connects with me because I wish I knew of a place like this to give back. I wish my community had access to these funds that you're giving to these other communities, because it would have definitely changed where I'm at an artist now. But I do have to say that I'm more hungry and I'm more of a fighter now because I didn't have access to it, if that makes sense. And I connected with each single person. So this interview, it goes by, and I walk out that building, and I'm like, I know I got it. I know I did. I felt it. You just get chills when and I've always been good at interviewing, because my number one thing that I say to myself before is that you just have to be yourself. They're not about to hire anybody else but Justin, because Justin is Justin throughout. When he wakes up, when he goes to sleep, when he has some whiskey, that might be a little bit extra, but Justin is definitely Justin. So I left that fancy building, 5 Penn Plaza. I want to say 20 feet away from the building. And my temp boss called me and said, Justin, they want to offer you the temp position. I screamed over the phone, because this was a sign that out of all the stuff I've been going through, dealing with like trying to get myself in a comfortable space, that this is going to work. And also I'm like, oh, I get paid weekly. This is awesome. And it's at, the normal rate, $15 an hour. I'm like, this is perfect. This is going to give me something in my pocket, something I can work with. I'll be able to pay some rent to move into a room. My friend had this room, and I literally start crying. I was just like, yes. And literally after that, I got a call from like 3 other places I interviewed for, all asking me to come in, all saying they wanted me to do this. And I'm like, it's too late. I'm off the market. This place is where I want to be. And I showed up at this job, and I fell in love with it completely. And when they said they wanted to transform the receptionist position, they were not lying. The previous person before me, they were just a normal receptionist, which is awesome. But they said, we want you to be more in the operations team. We want you to help with scheduling and events, helping set up the meetings, breaking down the meetings, knowing how to work with the vendors, knowing how to work with mini schedules, all these things that I'm like, yes. I'm like, you watch it in movies, you watch it on TV, and you say, oh, this would be so exciting. I'm like, I literally wanted and knew. Like, I was like, I want to be in New York working in the hustle and bustle of it. Like, I love being an artist completely, but I know I can thrive in an office space, because I not only have the drive, but I have the personality to not get bored of it, and I can make it fun for myself. So month 1, they put me through the ringer. My boss, my other boss, completely took me under his wing and just made me feel like, look, he was very clear. This is right. This is wrong. And I completely appreciated that, because one thing I'm good at is taking direction. Now, I might not be the fastest when it comes to catching a 5, 6, 7, 8, but when it comes to working on like a computer or getting things together, calling people, doing the actual job like that, I know I can thrive in it, because to me, that's not as difficult as dancing a 15-minute piece on the stage and not leaving, which I've done before. That's one thing I love, is that whenever I get boggled down at my office job, I always think about some of the hardest moments in dance. And I'm like, this doesn't even equate to how I danced in a full piece of Energizer and was out of breath. You know what I'm saying? So I was like, at this job, I have access to take a break and go get water, go to the bathroom, sit down at my desk for a little bit, and, socialize. But when I'm on stage or performing or touring, it's different. So the difficulty level, I'm like, this doesn't really compete. When you're an artist, you are really thriving and really pushing. Like, and it's at a different intensity. You're proving something to yourself. You're proving something to your director. You're proving something to your coworkers that you can keep up. And you're doing those same things in the office, but it's not as much, because it's different worlds. So I kept comparing those, and it worked for me. It helped me stay up and at them, which I really enjoyed. So 3 months go by, and I'm telling my friends, and I've moved already into this room I'm in now, which I'm doing this podcast in. And I say, look, I told my friends, Efren, Tyler, and I'm like, I need this job. I want this job. So I want this job full time. I need this to go temp to full. So in the process of me saying it out loud and putting it in my head, I started working a lot in the world of manifestation. So I started writing it down at my desk. First thing I wrote down, I was like, you already have the job. You're sitting in the seat for the job. The job is yours. If they want to do another interview for anybody else for this same position, just know that you're sitting here first. And you need to let them know that, but this position is already yours. It's written in the stars. That's it. So I did exactly what I needed to do. I talked to each person that interviewed me, and I said, I'm very interested in making this long term. I am going close to 30, and I would like to be financially stable by 30, and this job is a great opportunity for that. I say this to each person. I say that I love this job, I value the mission statement of this job, and I feel like I can thrive here. And this is something that I am open and available to, and I do not plan to be a receptionist for 2 months and then go to Japan for a tour with somebody and then be broke. I am fully committed and I'm all in. I talk to HR, I talk to my boss, I talk to the other boss, I let them know, and then I get back to work. And I said, there's nothing else I need to do. My work that I've been doing seamlessly for the last 3 months is going to speak for itself. Then everyone there noticed I was there past 3 months. They were asking me, are you going to stay on? I'm like, I don't know. It's up to them. I'm like, I'm interested. The directors, the head directors, oh, we really like you. We hope you get to stay. I'm like, I hope so too, but we'll see. Never being surefire with them and be knowing that this match in my hand is about to be lit. So I sat patiently and I continue to do my job. And as I wait, I continue to work. And I continue to think that this is going to work out for me. This is working right now. And as I'm at this job, it's a slow day. I show up. I'm a little bit sick. And just the week before then, I went to my friend Elle's wedding. And I was like, you guys, this job is amazing. I love it. I want them to hire me full time. And then I go back from the wedding. And I believe it's the week after, actually. And I get called into the office. And they say, we want to offer you a full-time position. I say, I'm stunned. So I really don't say, I say, okay. Because I'm shocked. But I know that I'm well deserving of this because I worked my ass off for it. You know what I'm saying? Like, and then he slid over the paper of the salary, the full health benefits, the perks of everything. And I said, yes, completely. And just before I stepped into this office, 2 weeks before, I was talking to my temp agent lady and I said, look, I know how much these people make. I've been through I know they have money here. So I feel like I should be making at least this. If I can at least make, $40,000 a year, that would be awesome. 35, something close as a starter. I know receptionists don't seem to do much, but they have me doing a lot more than just reception. And then she tells me, she's like, Justin, this position usually isn't more than $16 an hour. She said, I'm like, well, I would love to at least make 20 if I can. She was like, well, our job is to help you get to something like that, but we want to be realistic with you. I'm not going to say how much I make on here, because I don't know everybody that listen. But I'm going to say this. When I walked into that room and they offered me my new salary with my full benefits, health, dental, and eye insurance, it was way more than what I asked and wanted from my temp agent. And it blew me away. Right now, I'm making the most money I've ever made in my life. And it's crazy because I told myself, after dancing with an amazing dance company that provided health benefits and a salary through a lot of the year, I said, I would like, if I move to something else that's in the arts, I would like to be making just as much or more. And now I am. I'm here. It's happening. It's reality, and it's fucking mind-blowing. I'm in we have gym attached to it, it's all taken out of our check, but everything is seamless, full coverage. I've been to the dentist already, all these different things. And the first thing I did was I called my mom and I told her what happened, and I let everyone know what was going, my close friends. I texted them immediately and I told them you guys, they just offered me this. And then I just kept walking as if I've been walking since the other day, because I told myself, and I knew that I was deserving of it, because I put everything I had into it. Even times that it was getting hard and stressful and I was being challenged by these different personalities in the office, I was like, well, you know what? Have you ever dealt with somebody who got cast for a solo and then they found out that they don't have the solo? Until you deal with that, this office personality has nothing. And this is what I'm saying. I keep providing a perspective for a situation because I've battled so much. Even just my upbringing alone has prepared me to take on a lot. This job, it's not just about the money or the person to come with it. I actually like being there. Because if I want to set roots here, I need to like my job to some extent. And I love it. We just moved into a new building, 140 Broadway, and the views are ridiculous. My new desk, my reception area is amazing. But I'm never there because I'm doing reception on top of 5 other things that I love. Like, they're giving me more responsibilities. We have to set life goals. We have access to therapy. We have access to all these things that I never thought I would be able to say, oh, I can just go and do, or I can just book a flight to go home. I mean, the PTO days is out of this world. I mean, it's crazy. And to be here now and to be 28, and I said I wanted to be financially stable by 30, and it's here, is mind-blowing. But it's not that mind-blowing because I know this is what I wanted for myself, and I know that the push is real. I repeat, the push is real. I have been pushing through so many doors, bulldozing them bitches, that even at my lowest, that I was like, you gotta get up. I kept telling myself that for these interviews that I was going before this opportunity happened. Justin, you need to get up. You need to get up. You need to get out of bed. You cannot sulk. Nothing is coming to you. This is what sometimes we forget, is that nothing is coming to you when you lay down. Nothing is going to just plop in your lap. And for somebody like me, you know, unfortunately, I don't have a family member that can co-sign for anything for me. So anything that I want to do big, if I want to get a home, if I want to move into another apartment, I need a cosign, I need a car. I have to do all that stuff by myself. Yes, that's empowering to do it when you get there, but it's stressful as fuck to have no support at all. Now, you got family that say, we love you, we support you, but I have nobody in my family that can financially help me if something is to happen. I'm talking about big money if I was to end up on the streets. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not talking about, like, you know, $50 on Western Union. Shout out. I still will take it. You know what I'm saying? Cash out. What up? But everything that I had to do financially for myself, I had to get my first car. I had to say, like, all these things, I didn't have anything gifted to me. I had people that assisted me and pointed me in the right direction and gave me good advice. But financially and anything mentally going on in my damn head came a lot from me watching TV, reality, and me checking in with myself, and even doing this podcast. So this is a reminder to you that if you feel stuck, all you got to do is move. Nobody's going to pull you out, ideally. And if you're waiting for somebody to, you're just going to be sitting there. So I'm at this new job. I'm loving it. I used my first PTO days. I felt like big money. No. And that's where I'm at now. And this all happened when I was like getting out of a relationship that just wasn't meant to be. You know, like you can still have love for someone and you put a lot of energy into someone, but when someone that you're with moves on faster than you and you're still stuck in it, it's hard. It's very difficult. And I had to challenge my emotions to whip them into shape faster than what I usually give them time for. But the thing is that nothing waits, especially in here in New York. Nothing waits. And I don't care if you're down and out, you got one motherfucking leg. If you better move. You better scoot your ass up to the front with your tongue. You better just keep on pulling. Because nobody cares here. Nobody cares. I can't show up and say I'm going through an emotional journey of anything because I wanted this job so bad. I needed it full time. And even now, since I have it full time, I'm still dedicated to show out. Because this is not a mistake. This is not a fluke. You saw me through temp. You saw me through interview. You saw me through 3 months, and you did not make a mistake. And I'm living proof that the path, it works. Listen to your gut. Surround yourself with people, and if you don't have people to surround yourself with yourself and good inspirations. Find a way to laugh. Find a way to smile. And if you like to drink, have a motherfucking drink. Because I've been drinking a lot, but in good moderation and professionally, of course. But enough to know what I need. I've been listening to myself more. Because what I did was I was neglecting a lot of myself in the past. And I was giving in to things. And I wasn't moving nowhere. But it's when I said, it's like when I got punched in the gut that was giving me so much advice. That's when I was like, look, you need to listen up. This is a sign. This is crucial. What are you going to do? What steps do you want to make? So now I'm in a place financially where I can save money, where I can pay my rent, and I can afford to treat myself which is amazing. So I'm blessed, and this is a full-time motherfucking job. No breaks, no, blank weeks, and then you have a month off. None of that. And also now I'm learning how to create space for work and my artistic journey. With this new performance opportunity I have to set work in the fall of next year, but it's still something, and I'm still open. I'm still leaving space for my artistic side to breathe and be open. It's important to me to do this. It's crucial. But my passion, my flame is lit because of the artistic side. I mean, I still see things in many colors. I still see many different paths. I still see the lights when the lights are off. Like, just because I'm not dancing as much as I did before, I'm not setting work as much, doesn't mean that this artistic side inside of me is going anywhere. It's actually helping me stay afloat because it's giving me hope. I've been dreaming for a long time, and I'm happy I never stopped dreaming, because I remember when I used to watch these movies and I'm like, I want to be in a building like this. I want to be on Wall Street. My job is in the financial district, and it's in the arts, and it's a private foundation, and they support kids who don't have access to the arts. They support whole communities. They support dance companies. They do all these things. And I'm here. I'm in it. Exactly where I envisioned and I dreamed about. The wildest thing is dreaming about these moments and to be living it. And whenever I look out at the view that I get to see at my new desk, I'm like, shit, I have nothing to be complaining about. Anything small, like petty stuff, or I can't see this person, or I don't know why I'm not going on a date, or what I'm doing this, I look out at that view, I'm like, but look at where I'm at right now. Like, literally. I have to shut myself up sometimes and to stop complaining, especially, and also about people at work. I'm like, but look at where I'm at. Look how far I've come. Like, I'm going home for Thanksgiving to see my family, and I actually do not like going home, but every time I go home, I leave with perspective. I have a good time, I party with my family, and then I get to come back to where I fought so hard to get away from. I had a coworker ask me, oh, you're going home, like, are you excited? I'm like, well, not really. Like, I love my mom. Like, my family is great, but it's always some attached drama that kind of happens, and attached drama that happens with it. And I also remember why I left. Like, I left for a reason, And she was like, yeah. I'm like, but you got to give yourself a chance to go back and go up against that beast, because it's not dying. Okay, where you come from is always gonna be there, and I've always acknowledged where I come from, but I've also acknowledged how far I've come to get away from that, because that's not where I want it to be. People aren't making it how I want to make it, staying there. It's not happening. But I have love for where I come from, East Cleveland, Ohio, 44112 all motherfucking day. Like, I love it. But I have to be realistic and say what I wanted for myself, what I seen on those big TV screens, wasn't going to happen there. And I'm happy that I was given the space by my mother to dream big, and she never held me back every step of the way. She, encouraged me to continue to dive down, to continue to reach out, to continue to dream. And she never told me to stop. Even when things were outlandish, she was like, I'm going to be there. And she was. So, this is where I'm at now. I'm doing good. I got a good job. I love my friends. I'm single. I might be ready to mingle. I'm currently in the process of looking for another place to stay, which will be in a few months, so I have some time. But I think I'm on a path that I want to go and look for my own place, which has been another big milestone for myself, is to be able to have my own place in New York. So now I have another uphill battle of making sure that I get my finances correct. I save money correctly. I get my credit together, which is a huge thing. And it's time for me to really let these roots continue just to spread on out. Because I'm here to stay in New York. I'm not leaving. I love living here. Even though it's annoying as hell with some of these people that live here, I get surprised every single day, and this is where I wanted to be since I was a little kid, and I'm here. And I'm not, I'm here and I'm not suffering. This is huge. Look at where you at now and see if you're suffering in it. I'm not suffering where I'm at. I'm really happy. And even in my most down moments, when I just found out that I need to find a place where I can have my dog and I just got settled here, I'm like, look, ain't nobody being pushed out. I have time. I need to breathe. I need to enjoy where I'm at. And I'm about to keep drinking this Cabin Fever maple flavored whiskey. And I'm just going to chill. I'm going to go home on Monday. I'm going to see my family. I'm going to take in all they love. I'm going to eat all the food that I haven't had the chance to eat because I've been working like crazy. I work Monday through Friday, 8 to 5. And actually, I love it. I have a gym that's inside of our corporate building. It's like crazy what's happening right now. And I'm 28, and by 30, I don't even know what's about to go down, but I know it's gonna be big. And right now, I just want to keep you guys up, and I also want to just keep you, reminding yourself that where you're at now is where you're supposed to be. And even if you're stressing about something today, just know what you're stressing about is not going to change tomorrow. It's not going to change in the next minute or next second, which is what I had to tell myself about having to look for a new place. So I'm happy to be back. I'm happy to be sharing my journey. I hope this inspires you. I'm going to keep pushing to do these more because this just made me feel good just expressing myself. It's sometimes hard to turn on this mic, open up this laptop, and get talking and don't stop. Because there's no producing element here. There's nobody here helping me. It's really just me. And I love that factor. But I've also let myself down by not committing to it. But I've also been going through a lot of shit. Which is always good, for a good story for the podcast. So, I'm in New York. I'm in Brooklyn. This is Justin. This is Through the Fryer. New and improved. Single. Living it. And I hope you have a great weekend. If I don't get back to you for Thanksgiving, that means I'm back in the hood and I'm getting cranked on some dark liquor. And yeah, much love, much light, and God bless.